Hey, are you seriously podcasting alone?
Nah, I'm with my
Your hypest soundtrack in the game.
I love how John always starts out like this is like a rap track.
It is.
Yeah,
It gets you
it
pumped.
is.
It
Let's
really gets you
go.
pumped.
It is. Today we are going to talk about
Continue. Sorry.
the eating of the poo poo.
Yes,
Let me tell
my
you,
favorite.
it is deviant. We do not want it.
It is the devil's fruit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am John, sitting here with another John and
Yo.
one Nicola to my right.
Nick.
Hola.
We are the boys. Welcome to the boys versus everything. To my right behind me, moderating, our lovely podcast director, Priscilla. Oker. There you go. That's what I wanted.
Wanted us. He wanted
Now-
us ignorant. That's what he wanted.
Now, I have a question for you fellas.
Ask.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay?
I fell on my head when I was like 12, and everything just changed for me, you know?
That got deeper than we thought.
What do you guys know about Uganda?
Not much.
It's in Africa.
That's where all the oil comes from, right?
Yeah, Priscilla's clapping at Nick's.
I know geography. That's pretty much it.
Nailed it.
It stops right there.
Oh, that's pretty much all we know about it.
Well, we're going to talk about Uganda today.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Let's do it, okay? So, in 2023, the African nation of Uganda passed a now infamous bill titled the Anti-Homosexuality Act.
Fun.
Under this act, Ugandans accused of attempting homosexuality could find themselves with a sentence of up to 10 years in prison and the death penalty if they're accused of acts of aggravated homosexuality.
We don't know that much about Uganda.
And what was considered...
It's a steep ramp up right now.
Is there low-key homosexuality?
Yeah, that's what you guys do in the podcast. And a little bit of us, you know.
We keep it low key at least.
We like to do low-key so homosexuality.
So what you're saying is that what you guys are doing is not aggravated
No.
homosexuality. Okay.
It's less severe.
Yeah, we do it under the table.
How much is the sentence for that one?
I'm holding Nick right now under the table.
Attempted homosexuality. Like, I'm trying to suck your dick, but just
Just keep it low
not
key.
quite.
Ah, gotcha, bitch.
I mean, it's aggravated homosexuality if you're trying to suck his dick and he doesn't want you to suck his dick.
I mean, I guess so. That's everywhere, though, I think.
So, yeah.
There's aggravated, but there's also soft sexuality.
Soft sexuality is what we do on the podcast. Now, aggravated homosexuality is defined as any sexual abuse being committed against anyone non-consenting, people under the age of 18 who cannot legally consent, or children. Additionally, sex with somebody who's disabled, mentally ill, or over the age of 75 also falls into the definition of aggravated homosexuality.
Damn. So if you're like 73 fucking a 76-year-old, you're fucked.
I don't know how I don't know how this law applies. If like, what if you just happen to be some weird, like, you know, old version of Call Me By Your Name? Like, it's a 75-year-old man is fucking a 20-year-old boy. But maybe they're in love. Maybe it's nice.
I mean, you're still fucked.
We'll just go soft, go gently.
Don't make it aggravated.
Don't make it aggravated. Now, there's a lot that we need to unpack here. First and foremost, I think I speak for all of us when I say that we are not for any form of non-consenting sexual intercourse going down.
No.
Amen.
But it is worth noting that the act of rape is not something that is inherently homosexual. The term aggravated homosexuality implies that there are degrees of the same sex attraction, and that those degrees inevitably escalate towards full-blown pedophilia and sexual assault. See, this is obviously bullshit. See, in reality, the concept of aggravated homosexuality is the fruit of a tree rooted in Uganda and Africa long ago. And today, we are going to talk about the men who planted the seed of homophobia in Uganda and the men who tend to the tree to this very day. And you may not realize it yet, but you have probably already seen or heard these men in your memes.
That's where the intro of Where Are You Gay?
Why are you gay?
Where are you gay? Uganda.
In 2004, the state of Massachusetts became the first to legalize same-sex marriage in the United States, therefore becoming the catalyst in an effort to legalize it throughout the country.
I thought the United States would be last on this, you know?
No, they normally tend to.
They
Ahead
do
of the
the
curve.
wrong thing all
But I
the
always
time.
thought
They
Canada,
do the work. They
Canada
do
would
like
be first.
terrible versions of the wrong thing before they eventually kind of correct
Yeah,
themselves.
but what's fucked up is that they do it state per state. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
never across the board. You know,
No,
even
but-
like the legal age of drinking is different in every state. It's like,
But also, they assist people to do horrible things in other countries that you never hear about,
no.
like this.
Well, we're going to hear about some of it today. Exactly. For many evangelical organizations in the US, this cultural shift marked a turning point in a struggle for America's soul, a battle they now realize they were on the losing side of. And when you find yourself to be in a place where the market for what you're selling is feeble, you're better off taking your business elsewhere. And when you're in the business of manufacturing fear, there are only so many other markets to migrate to. And so, the evangelical right flocked to a warmer setting, Africa.
Are there beaches in Uganda? Is it on the coast?
Is it a beach destination?
There's got to. I don't know, actually. In my whole research, I don't think I've looked at a map of Uganda.
Yeah,
Bro.
for reference, he's
You
been
go.
doing research for a while right now.
There is the beaches. Oh, those are
It
nice
is
beaches.
deep
Entebbe,
research.
Kampala. Oh yeah, I watched that movie.
So it is a beach
That
destination.
movie. There was beaches in that movie. I watched a movie called The Last King of Scotland as research for this movie. Well, not fully my research. It was just, hey, I'm gonna watch this since I'm researching this.
Honestly, I'm looking at pictures and I don't think they're there for the converting gays. This is a
They're there.
beautiful.
They're there for
You're
the
saying this is a
beach.
very
Just
gay
chill,
beach?
have some mojitos. It's a good time.
Convert gays and sip some mojitos on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need a tan.
Yeah, they needed a tan.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hatred needs a tan.
You mean Wakanda is a part of this?
Wakanda's gonna have a lot of part of this.
Damn, I thought they were progressive at least.
Nah, bro.
We do not do that here. Circa 2003, President Bush and his wife Laura Bush developed an interest in bettering the lives of Africans after visiting Gambia, on top of reading Roots by Alex Haley.
They did the research on racism. They know what black people are.
It's that I'm stuck in an elevator with a black person, and instead of just letting the elevator music run on, be like, I read Roots.
Oh my god.
know the struggle, brother.
I didn't read it. I watched it. I watched the remake.
I saw a review.
I saw a review. It was the same thing.
I read the views, but I get the premise.
Yeah. It's the same. It's like the Black Panther situation where like Black Panther should have won an Oscar, by the way.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not racist, but I know a black person.
It was super. It was a really interesting movie.
Yeah.
Story wise.
I like the first one.
The first one?
Yeah, aren't there two now?
Yeah.
There's two.
Yeah,
Second is pretty terrible.
yeah. It's never fell into it.
All right.
All right.
I kind of like it.
Race.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I was hosting a podcast with a couple of racists.
Priscilla.
It was this spark of white saviorism that led to the creation of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR for short. Now the goal with PEPFAR was to fuck you. Eat shit.
Gargle.
Now the goal with PEPFAR was to reduce the spread of AIDS in Africa by funding AIDS research, treatment, and prevention. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, right?
No, that actually sounds like a really great idea.
Sounds like what you should do.
Thank you,
yeah.
Bush.
Thank you, Bush.
With a box of condoms.
You wouldn't be wrong for thinking so, but it was reported that by 2020, a whopping $90 billion went into this program. But when you consider that more than $1.4 billion of that money went into abstinence programs, the game plan starts getting a little more obvious, you know?
90 billion.
Yeah, $90 billion.
Fuck.
But this is between 2003 and 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a lot of money
The
still.
third
but
of
yeah.
what we gave to Ukraine.
Woo! That's getting cut from.
Yeah, it's getting cut.
That's a little too
Yeah,
long.
that's a little too relevant right now.
It is because PEPFAR is the result of something called compassionate conservatism. Compassionate conservatism entails exactly what its title says it does: helping people with capitalism. But another great way of describing the philosophy would be paternalism, Paternalism's main deal is to limit a person or group's abilities under the guise of being beneficial to them. In other words, daddy knows best. Something that's really funny to note is that the Wikipedia page for paternalism features a picture of parents walking their children with like child harnesses.
So like leashes?
Yeah. You ever seen the child leashes?
Yeah.
I've seen like I've seen daycares taking kids like that too.
Yeah, a lot of them actually. And then some of them like just have like the basic like the rope that you hold.
But I think the rope that you
that-
hold makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
you are guiding children.
And you're giving them like, you know, like you can hold on. The other one it's like no, don't go too far.
You
Just
fucking
put
yank
yank.
them. Yeah.
You heard it here first. This podcast is pro child harnesses.
We're against the child harnesses. If you can yank them like a bungee, swipe them off their feet.
Just drag them on the ground. Run by.
So when it came time for Daddy Pepfar to lay the law down in Africa, and specifically Uganda, he was going to need a loyal son to spread that oversight. And that brings us to the man in question today. Man named Martin Sempa. So here you go.
Oh my god.
That's what he looks like.
Guy.
By the way, as
Blue Pedo, red
usual,
pea.
I will be uploading these pictures on a PowerPoint, and that will be linked in the description. So go check that out.
He looks like he's about to give you the red pill, the blue pill.
I was going to say, for some reason, I was thinking he looks like a black Morpheus.
The black.
I know. I didn't think about it.
Jeez, racist.
If in case you don't realize, Martin Sempa is a black man.
The way he's looking right now is really staring at you.
I had to pick the picture with the most serious.
He has more beautiful eyes than you, John.
Oh my.
Oh, yeah. Not my
That's a
eyes.
small statement.
The other John. So, Pastor Dr. Martin Sempa was born in the Masaka district of Uganda in 1968. Born to a single mother, Sempa's father, who he never got to meet, was an Indian man who Sempa believes was exiled when dictator Idi Amin was expelling Asians from Uganda.
His glasses look mad crooked. I just can't stop looking at it.
God damn it, leave him alone.
The smallest glasses I've seen.
In an excerpt from his upcoming biography, which he posted on X, Twitter, he described how growing up the child of a half-Indian descent came with a lot of rejection. Now here we go. We're going to quote from his book. My mother did not hesitate to bring up the circumstances around my birth and conception. Every time I tried her patience as a young boy, granted, she always told me she loved me, but I got to know my checkered history quite early. My father was a young Asian of most likely Indian descent, whose family was one of the trading families in Masaka. He was a student at Makerere University, and that is the extent of my knowledge about my father. Soon after I was born, President Idi Amin declared an economic war on indigenizing. What? Indigenization. I have problems.
That's why we got Priscilla. She's
Fuck.
killing it.
She's the
Killing
smartest
it
one
with
here.
that
Did you hear her episode?
Oh shit!
No, I was actually saying a compliment.
Was it?
Yes, I was
sounded
meaning it. I
very
meant that it's a
mean.
compliment.
Did you hear?
Fuck you. I think she did a better job than me. She's rushing me now. Okay. Okay, he continues. And my father was among those who were deported / expelled out of Uganda. Unfortunately, it meant that I would never get to meet my father or his family. Not only was I born in a conflicted relationship of races, I never got a chance to know who my father was, nor his family. He just said the same thing twice.
Why are they doing the deportation thing again?
So basically, it was because long time ago, this is basically just colonial history. The British brought a lot of people in to, like build railroads and other things in Uganda. So that left a lot of Asians in there. So like mostly a lot of Indian people were in Uganda and stuff like that. But, they opened businesses, and as these stories go over time, they just got like, hey, why do these Indian guys like have way more businesses than like actual, well, quote unquote, actual Ugandans, even though some people there were like,
They're born
third,
there.
yeah, they're born there, like they're like third generation. So when Idi Amin came into power, he basically forced these people out.
Damn.
At first, he had given them like a year to leave, and then eventually it became like a straight up like everybody was being deported.
Like trying to give the business back to the people.
Yeah, exactly. That was that thing basically. He was that, and and eventually it became to like he escalated his thing to also killing certain tribes, because one of the things to understand about Uganda is that it's not really its own whole nation. It's a bunch of tribes that just because of the colonial rule ended up becoming one territory and forced to become a country altogether. But they still all oppose each other. There's still a lot of them don't like each other, and there's like there's what how do you say that, like interpersonal racism in between these tribes already, But first and foremost, get the Indians out was their mindset. Idi Amin's mindset, anyways.
Like the visible minorities, I guess.
Yeah, visible minorities in that. Yeah. So, despite the great, he continues, by the way, despite the great love and acceptance that I received from my mother, siblings, and my Baganda tribal family, I always felt a great sense of, quote, father hunger, that yearning of fatherly protection, provision, and affirmation, which only a dad could provide.
I'm hungry for daddy.
My mother was a primary school teacher who was struggling to raise 8 children as a single parent. She had been married to James Kayune, a medical officer, and they were blessed with 6 children, but their marriage broke down. My mother always told me that she could not accept being a co-wife. My stepfather had brought another wife home, and she could not accept the idea of sharing a husband. So basically, he brought in like another wife because they can have multiple wives there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My stepfather had brought another wife home, and she could not accept the idea of sharing a husband, despite the efforts of the good Catholic bishops who intervened to smooth things over. The marriage broke down, and she moved away in the mid-60s to start a new life as a teacher and a single mother. So I like the idea of even the like Catholic bishops like, please don't leave your husband.
Yeah.
Just like be with his share his wife basically.
He needs a lot of women in his life.
I feel like that's a lot of manage. Like even for a man, like that's still a lot of manage.
I don't know.
To have like 2 wives.
He continues, owing to my biracial parentage, my looks were quite different from the rest of the family and the children around me. I had big curly hair, unlike my brother's kinky hair. I had much lighter skin due to my father's suspected Asian descent. I don't know why he talks about it like that.
I like this. They never talk about it to his mom about him. Like she would know.
Yeah, like I don't. For some reason, she doesn't tell him as much. Yeah,
Oh.
But at the beginning, he was saying like his mother kept
pushing
talking
her.
shit about him, saying like
But
she
I guess
wasn't
talking
talking.
about his-
She wasn't talking shit, but like she just wasn't telling him, and then he would annoy her to the point where like, okay, fine, I'll tell you something.
okay,
it's like the 50s and 60s though. So like people didn't talk about their lives.
Exactly. Some of that happens too. So these biogenetic differences were much more pronounced in my childhood. I stuck out both in classrooms and on the children's playfield. I can compare it to being the only black student in an all-white student school, or being the only white student at an all-black African student school. To some, I was an object of curiosity, and I often had to bear the discomfort of having my hair felt.
I was about to ask if they did that.
Well, they did.
they did it to me, so I only imagine.
Poor John, he's just like a black man.
Well, like an Indian man.
Like an Indian man in a black man's world.
Just pet my hair like a dog.
So I often
seen curly hair like that.
it's like a Cheeto.
Oh my god,
It's like a sheep.
is that a perm?
Yeah, I think so, right? Once again, I often had to bear the discomfort of having my hair felt, so the kids could feel with kinky hair could feel my curly hair. Most of them were kind, but others would mock me with unkind words. So here are the mockeries. Sempa was forgotten at the airport. The Indians forgot him with the suitcases and the boxes at the airport.
The fuck.
They would laugh, and others gave me the moniker Magoba ba Uganda, a Luganda phrase meaning Ugandan prophet, which they would explain with youthful logic. In the interaction between Uganda and India, Sempa was the Ugandan prophet.
They went from talking shit to praising him.
That's pretty good. Yeah, like that doesn't
That's
sound
a
like
nice
really
thing to
good
say.
like shit
I'd like to
talking
be
name.
called that.
Right?
The Canadian prophets.
The Canadian prophet. So now this is from a Spark TV interview where he also adds a little more. My mother was told to have an abortion rather than having a child with an Indian, but she refused. I have had to fight rejection since childhood, being told that I was unwanted. However, God does love me.
Well, her mom wanted him clearly.
Yeah, right?
Or does this feel like he's just making up his like political like sob story? That's kind of what it
Yeah, I
feels
mean,
like.
take it. It's from him anyways. As you see here, to quote the famous musician and philosopher DJ Khaled, they ain't believing him, but God did.
Yeah.
As a young man, Martin Sempa attended Bible study for the reason that most young men go to Bible study
Get
for.
laid.
The girls. In other words, Sempa caught simping. I attended, so here again, he goes again. I attended Bible study with the sole intention of pursuing a particular girlfriend, as my focus was not on Jesus, but on the girl herself. Unfortunately, I did not succeed in winning her over, but I became born again.
Just like God, dude.
Yuck cut.
Before Martin Sempa became a celebrity for his memeable hatred of gays, though, he had his 15 minutes of fame as an early teenager. Sempa was awarded East African breakdance champion,
Sheesh.
and with that came a promiscuous lifestyle, according to him.
They heard he was Indian. He's like, I got to get my street cred somewhere.
Popping and locking. All good things, though, must eventually come to an end.
You must find God.
Sadly, popping and locking is never forever. In the late 80s, Sempa and his siblings attended Makerere University. Somewhere within that time, both his
Macarena
brother...
University.
No, Makerere. I don't know if they roll their R's in Uganda.
Macarena.
So I don't know if it's Makerere. I think they would roll their R's.
Try
You
it.
send us an email, bvpodcast@gmail.com.
If you're from Uganda, send us an email.
So yeah, in the late 80s, he would attend Makerere University with his siblings. Somewhere within that time, both his brother and his sister would contract AIDS. Martin spent that time at their bedsides up until, tragically, both of them died in 1990.
How did they get the AIDS?
Well,
I need details.
this is what we're going to find out a little. Well, not that much, really. So it's kind of he ends up blaming, like their promiscuous lifestyle on this, which he was apparently still at the time living. So he kind of just blames it on that.
Yeah.
Well, he was promiscuous, right? No, he didn't say anything about this.
Well, this is when he kind of takes his turn.
Boy.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So like, it's kind of a sad origin story for Sempa, but it's an interesting point to look at when you consider how he's going to lead his life after this moment. Because after this, he blames the AIDS crisis in Uganda on promiscuity and degeneracy. And his solution is abstinence until marriage and faithfulness within that marriage. Now, this is from a New Vision article. Pastor Sempa also buried his dreams of becoming an international artiste with money and fame. He gave his life to Christ at the Baptist Youth Center in Wandegeya and embarked on a countryside sensitization of the youth about HIV. He is a pioneer member of the AIDS drama group and flooded schools during the peak of the HIV problem in the 1980s and 90s. His work culminated in the formation of Prime Time, or what you would call the straight talk version of Makerere University. Prime Time is a social vaccine to loneliness, peer pressure, and the challenges linked to HIV/AIDS. About 3,500 students meet every week at the university poolside to listen to a man who admits he lived a promiscuous lifestyle in his teenage years.
Show off.
He could have been Taylor Swift's background dancer,
this
bro.
is some bullshit where he could have been Taylor Swift's background dancer. He should have pushed it.
He should have been. He should have went for it, man.
It's almost like he didn't
Find
his
God
shit-
after your career goes off.
His career wasn't going well, and it was just like, you know what? I'm going to choose Jesus Christ now over all this money and fame I could have had. Man's
I think
lying.
he just started feeling his joints a little too much. And
His knee started popping. He's like, you know what? This might not be for me.
Not forever.
if I was like way smarter, I could have been a doctor.
If I was way, I thought you were gonna say if I was way smarter, I could have been a breakdancer. So this would make him kind of a favorite in the eyes of American Christian foundations. Sempa would go on to found the Makerere Community Church, and for nearly 2 decades would be majorly influential in Uganda's religious and political scene, in part because of his work in the fight against AIDS, but the world would soon see what Sempa's true crusade is actually all about. The journalist, Helen Epstein, not that Epstein.
Stop me before I said it.
Turn. Is he on the list?
No, she's pretty cool, actually.
Mr. Sempa's on the list?
I don't know. So Helen Epstein actually hung out one-on-one with Sempa while researching for her book, The Invisible Cure, which has been an awesome source for this episode. I got some nice-ass tidbits. Here's one of them. So, quote, in his sermons, he condemned homosexuality, pornography, condoms, certain kinds of rock music, and women's rights activists.
Certain
Go
kinds
went
of
after rock music, dog.
Not all
Why?
rock music, certain kinds.
Does he like
Christian
Freebird?
rock.
Christian rock is always good on my boat, man.
Does he like the Ring of Fire?
Which one is that?
A Ring of Fire.
That's Johnny Cash?
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts. Whatever.
I mean, it went hard like rock.
Classic rock. Oh.
You guys fucking suck. Even Priscilla shook her head.
It's because she doesn't know it.
Rock hasn't belonged to them for a long time and still.
You didn't play enough Tony Hawk's Underground.
You're right. I gotta get back in. So he also condemned women's rights activists who he said promoted lesbianism, abortion, and the worship of female goddesses. He told me that Satan worshippers held meetings under Lake Victoria, where they were promised riches in exchange for human blood, which they collected by staging car accidents and kidnappings.
He couldn't be Taylor Swift's background dancer, so now he banned her from the country.
Man has no proof whatsoever, I bet.
I don't know, but that would make a sick-ass movie plot.
Right. Getting back at Taylor Swift.
I don't know why you're on Taylor Swift.
We were talking about Taylor Swift earlier. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
Jesus Christ.
She's so perfect.
Martin Sempa is going to become as big as Taylor Swift. Okay, you'll see. So she continues. In his headquarters, just down the hill from Makerere, there was a special room for exorcisms. Sempa was stocky and bald with a broad avuncular smile. He wore colorful Hawaiian-style shirts and wire glasses. Although born in Uganda, he had spent years in the United States, and his Ugandan accent had a warm American twang. We talked about Satan, homosexuals, pornography, and other sins. He asked me whether I had any idea where I could obtain $1 million to buy land for his church.
That is such a weird thing. Like, how do you
I don't
end
know
an
how you
interview being like, listen, I know I'm pretty good at doing interviews, but like, you want to give me $1 million, please?
How does it come up organically, you know?
It doesn't.
So anyway, do you guys know where I can get like $1 million for this podcast?
I mean,
bvpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an
please.
email if
sure hedge
you
fund
know.
kid.
We want to start a church.
Yeah, if we start a church, my goodness.
I mean, honestly, yeah. Then we can have this podcast and not be taxed.
Fuck.
Our meeting was, she continues, by the way. Our meeting was interrupted by numerous phone calls as I listened and took notes. He shouted in English in Uganda. There had been some sort of crisis. Population Services International, a US-based contractor that had been running condom campaigns in Uganda and other African countries for years, had recently received US government funding to carry out an abstinence program. PSI had used the money to produce a new comic in which the main characters, a teenage boy and a girl, flirt with each other, make out on a couch at her parents' house, and then decide to abstain from sex. In one of the frames, they walk by a condom billboard on the street.
I really thought that this was going to go to like them getting cock blocked by like a condom superhero. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Wear
Stop it,
me.
wench.
He just walks around. He's not clean.
You're not riveted.
He's not even a clean condom. He's just
It's a dirty street condom.
what are you doing? And at the same time, he's like dirtying the streets.
Nice. Everybody's slipping. It's all slipping around.
He's leaking.
Yeah, it smells like bleach out here. Look at this, Senpai yelled, pointing at the drawing of the condom billboard. It's horrible. You can't promote condoms and abstinence at the same time. It would only confuse young people, he said, and to send the message that it was really okay to be promiscuous. They won't get away with it. I have spoken to the First Lady's office, he told me. We need to ensure that George W. Bush's money gets into the right hands.
George W. Bush is funding this directly with his own money.
Well, yeah, indirectly, but yes, it's happening.
So he wants to stop AIDS, but he wants to take away the condoms?
Because basically PEPFAR, the AIDS prevention program, is basically, sending a bunch of money to dispersing it to different organizations. The thing is that most of the foundations that donate to PEPFAR from the US are American Christian foundations who end up evangelical foundations who have a lot of money. And then they end up sending this money to organizations that they approve in Africa, who then do whatever they feel like doing in Africa,
Yeah, but then stopping condoms is like that's completely against the fact that you're trying to stop AIDS. you know.
Yeah, but
It's like
I mean, why have sex with a condom and risk
when you couldn't have it at all.
risk not catching AIDS when you could just not have sex at all, and also risk not catching AIDS? I guess
Just fight all your
just
urges.
less fun. Yeah,
It's just a whole lot more making out, I guess.
yeah.
Because everyone knows making out on a couch never leads to sex.
Imagine.
There's never been one time I've made out on a couch and it led to sex. I'm a good Christian.
Me too. Same.
Making out on a couch only leads to Bible study.
Believes in Jesus.
I do it in reverse order. So in 2007, the letter from the Human Rights Watch organization addressed to the U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator raised concerns about increasing attacks on the LGBTQ population by Ugandan
legislation.
I read
by
the Bible after
Ugandan
sex.
legislation. The letter also urged the U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator to disclose the names of Ugandan organizations that have received funding under PEPFAR between 2004 and 2007.
He's gonna burn them all down.
Tell me the fucking name. No, but this is the Human Rights Watch. So it's an organization. It's a UN organization.
Okay, I thought it was
basically.
Semba going on a Rambo
No, this isn't
rampage.
Semba. Not yet, but he will have some Rambo rampages. He will do some wild shit that's kind
It's
of
like,
funny.
give me the names.
No, he will. Don't worry, we're getting there. He's a super villain. You don't see it yet. Don't let those wireframe glasses fool you.
But he's Morpheus. He's a good guy.
no, he's
This
not.
is the multiverse.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
The plot
this
twist.
is a multiverse.
It's the plot twist the
Morpheus.
Matrix is waiting for.
The Morphiverse.
The Sempa-verse.
Priscilla's rushing me right now, but I had to get that one in. So here's the letter. In particular, one recipient of PEPFAR funds with ties to multiple organizations has echoed and joined government officials in condemning both LGBT people and the HIV prevention programs most likely to save their lives. Martin Sempa is a pastor of Makerere Community Church and director of the Campus Alliance to Wipe Out AIDS in Kampala, two faith-based organizations with a vigorous commitment to supporting abstinence. Sempa has attacked provision of condoms as part of the ABC strategy. In September 2004, he set fire to a box of condoms in Makerere University. According to press reports, he prayed over the fire, quote, "I burn these condoms in the name of Jesus." Sempa does not deny burning these condoms, though he has alleged in testimony before the House International Relations Committee that he burnt them because those condoms had been banned by the government a few days earlier, and that they would pose a significant risk to the population at large. So, quote, I was simply fulfilling what the government had ordered, a recall, a destruction of those condoms.
Didn't Hitler start burning books?
Okay, well, that's not
Whoa,
the same.
chill,
That's not the same fucking thing.
I'm just saying, it could be like a type of
We
like
must
villain
burn
origin.
these condoms right now.
Can I just say, I think
Them.
Jesus Christ
9.
being friends with a lot of hookers, I think he would have liked condoms to save his friends. So don't burn condoms for Jesus.
Don't burn condoms. I burn these condoms in the name of Jesus.
Just give everybody Plan Bs.
In September 2005, for instance, he wrote an open letter to the United Nations envoy of HIV/AIDS in Africa, Stephen Lewis, criticizing him for advocating an end to the Ugandan condom shortage. In it, he accused him of having a, quote, personal agenda of condomizing the developing nations and of wanting to condomize the world.
What the fuck?
I want to condomize this dick.
Is this a direct quote?
This is a direct quote. They made sure to put that in quotes.
You really
in the
tried to
letter.
wrap this up? What is wrong with you?
He's trying to put this world under wraps. I don't like it. I tried to make him Daffy Duck for some reason. You're despicable.
You're despicable.
So this condemnation of condoms comes in tandem with a deep abhorrence of LGBT people's sexualities and lives. Amid government attacks on LGBT people last month, Pastor Sempa led in organizing a rally to send a call for action on behalf of victims of homosexuality. Sempa was reported to have called homosexual conduct, quote, a criminal act against the laws of nature. Sempa led hundreds of demonstrators demanding government action to punish LGBT people. Sempa has also declared to news outlets that homosexuals should absolutely not be included in Uganda's HIV/AIDS framework. It is a crime, and when you are trying to stamp out a crime, you do not include it in your programs. Adding to an atmosphere of silence and menace, a website which has since been taken down, published an official statement by SEMPA as representative of the rally organizers that listed Ugandan LGBT rights activists by name. It posted their pictures and contacts, calling them, quote, homosexual promoters.
Even if you delete it, you can't hide from John's research.
I way back machine that shit. I found it.
Are they good promoters though? Like they bring in some cash?
No, not even.
He's like, maybe we get some for the podcast.
That is the funny thing that we're gonna get into a little later. But the term promotion of homosexuality is really fucking stupid because like basically like they loophole around it really much. Like if somebody who happens to be gay claims they're gay on a live TV interview, they're technically promoting homosexuality. And that is call for being arrested.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
I'd love to see a pride parade in Uganda.
A pride parade in Uganda?
That would be how you really get.
That's
to
where you want a pride parade. No,
right?
I feel like it'd be a
Oh
bloodbath.
shit! Not downtown Montreal.
No. I didn't mean it.
I didn't mean it. Don't come after me.
Following SEMPA's example and further endangering the LGBT community, the red pepper, a local fuck off.
The red chili peppers.
The red chili peppers.
The
from
red
Uganda.
chili peppers. Yeah, the red pepper,
Did you
a
forget the
local
chili?
newspaper had published. Sorry,
This man can't read.
I
Take
know
your
I can't
glasses
read. I
off.
He
don't
has
know why I'm
glasses
tired.
on too for the
No,
first time.
I'm sick. That's what's really fucking me up.
You're still getting us all sick? You're getting us all sick?
We all
Why am I
made out
talking
before
to
this.
your ears?
We all made out before this.
I'm putting my tongue in your ears. Your ears are gonna be sick.
Don't get our listeners sick. They're fragile.
The Red Pepper, a local newspaper, has published names, detailed descriptions, and meeting places of people who allegedly engaged in homosexual conduct. Pastor Sempa has acted as representative of First Lady Janet Museveni, a PEPFAR grantee. He attended the third HIV partnership forum held in Kampala in November 2004 on her behalf and has worked in the National Abstinence Coalition program with the U.S. Office of the First Lady. He has also testified before the U.S. Congress on the HIV/AIDS situation in Uganda as a special representative to the First Lady of Uganda's task force on AIDS. So he's big business.
He's a real thing.
He's a real deal.
Met up with everybody.
According to Ambassador Randall L. Tobias, former U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator, an organization that publicly states that condoms do not protect from AIDS or that burns condoms in public, would not be eligible to receive money from the U.S. government.
Oh, so they're fighting back against Sempa.
Well, yeah, they're saying like this is technically you're not allowed to do this. Like technically you shouldn't be getting funding if you're doing something like this. If you're like openly talking against condoms and burning condoms.
Yeah, 'cause that's where all the money's going to.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're technically saying, well, this shouldn't be happening. You know, like they kind of just double check them. So, yet the Makerere Community Church has received funds from PEPFAR as a subpartner of the Population Services International. An article in World Magazine this year about organizer Martin Sempa, who heads Uganda's Global Alliance for Prevention, or GAP, also states that GAP within the last year secured $40,000 in U.S. abstinence education money from PEPFAR.
So the Gap and PEPFAR are working together.
No, not that GAP. Goddamn.
The Gap, baby Gap.
Maybe Gap.
The baby gap. The real thing is they want you to have those babies. How else are they going to support the baby gap?
That's why they're burning condoms.
Exactly.
God, it all makes sense.
Either you don't have sex or you make baby sex.
Your choice, buddo.
Abstinence only policies
Buy my
that
jeans.
so the letter's almost done here. Abstinence only policies that condemn, discourage, or stigmatize condom use are a threat to effective HIV prevention. Abstinence until marriage policies deny the sexualities of LGBT people and intersect and reinforce homophobia. That's the letter there. Mic
Oh
drop.
my god.
Mic drop.
Fucking hell.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a rough to get through anyways. Sempa tried defending himself for burning those condoms by stating that the brand of condoms he was burning were defective. And this would sound partially true, as in August of 2004, the Ugandan government received complaints about Ngabu condoms, the brand of condoms he burned. The brand...
Coincidentally.
yeah, so the complaints were about the condoms smelling bad.
Well,
Then-
they always smell bad.
After you're done with them.
But I don't know, they might have smelled like extra bad, you know?
But it's like the symbolism of you burning condoms is who gives a frick what the fucking brand is when you're burning condoms.
It's the $3
yeah,
condom
so like
box
your
at
argument
Dollarama.
completely off. It doesn't
No, but
matter.
it just so happens to be that these were the condoms he was burning, and so
That was like the lawyer talk of him. Coming out.
we'll see it here real quick. Like an investigation was run in early September, and by October 4th, the government issued a statement saying that Ngabu condoms were safe to use. Turns out that Ngabu condoms contained too much sulfur, which is what caused the smell.
I'll let me some sulfur on my dick.
I don't know why condoms
Really
would
makes
need
it-
sulfur.
Really makes it tingle.
Yeah.
Doesn't it give it like a rotten egg smell?
Yeah, probably, because that's what sulfur apparently smells like.
Nasty,
Yeah.
yeah.
So not fun.
It's better than having magnesium on your dick.
I swear it's the condom, not me. I shower, please. So the bad condoms were recalled as a result. But the condom burning incident. So just note, by the way, that they issued the condoms. The complaints happened in like September. The condoms were recalled by October. They were called safe, but they recalled the bad condoms.
Okay.
Right. But the condom burning incident took place in mid-September, at a point where no warning was issued by the government about Ngabu condoms. Another thing to note is the fact that at the time of the burnings, Sempa did not recommend any alternative condom brands either. Maybe he just forgot. Or maybe he had a different, more typical motive for what he did.
Just burning condoms.
Helen
burning
Epstein.
books.
Not that Epstein.
That Epstein.
She
No.
keeps coming up, though.
I
She
swear.
keeps coming up.
She keeps coming up because she's a part of this fucking story.
Yeah, don't
Just
get on the
saying.
plane.
There's not a lot of journalists on
Just
this,
like
okay?
a certain Jeffrey.
No. Journalist I previously mentioned spoke so she spoke to some students about this. And here's what she wrote. Quote, one student from Sempa's congregation explained to me that the condom Sempa burned had been placed in front of a scrap metal statue called Gongum. Gongum had been built to honor the memory of a student who had been killed by soldiers of the former dictator Idi Amin. Gongum had since become the official mascot of Lumumba Hall, a men's dormitory. The girls' dorm had a female version of the statue named Gongum as well. Now, Gongum would be dressed in a condom, and a box of free condoms would be placed at its feet for the students. Some students saw this as a form of safe sex education. So, kind of like the, take a condom from the box,
Have a good time.
But born-again Christian students saw Gongum as a spirit who brings death, I was told. Every quote. So this is from a student.
If you take the box from there, you get limp dick.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. Every year except the last year, this is a student talking. Every year except the last two, someone has died in Lumumba, the student I spoke to explained. Blood has to be shed because a demon has entered the statue. When Pastor Sempa and the born-again Christian students found Gongum wearing a condom, it came as a shock. Quote, Pastor Sempa started shouting about the condoms. In retort, the non-Christian students started singing their anthem, Kali Kaya, a song about street urchins, mischief, and crime. But then Sempa started singing too. Now I am saved. I used to steal. The born-again Christian students sang along with him and urged him to burn the condoms.
So 2 people died in 2 years. And it's all because of the fucking demon?
I don't know what that has to do with the statue unless they were AIDS related or something,
Yeah.
maybe. But
Seems like pretty low numbers.
that's pretty low numbers.
Yeah.
That's low statistics.
So, I mean,
But it's hilarious because it's like the frat house
yeah.
idea. It's like an 80s movie where Burp, why is that statue wearing a condom? He's like, because we like it, man. And then he's like, get that condom off. And then they start singing back and he's singing back.
So, like, we have to make a
They're like,
party to raise money to protect the statue.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the condoms on that statue.
Why does it matter? Because it's part of our culture.
Yeah, and then this is the all is lost moment where he and the Christian student burn the fucking condoms. By the time Sempa was questioned about this, the recall had already happened, so the perfect defense had serendipitously fallen into his lap. One of the most fascinating things about Martin Sempa is just how publicly he does everything he does. He's like a supervillain. He does these wild and dangerous moves in plain sight and somehow still manages to fly under the radar. But in 2010, Sempa puts on a performance that will forever cement him as the meme he truly is.
He just really hypes up the crowd so damn well that they just say, I ain't gonna snitch on that guy. He ran
That
a
is
dope-ass party.
He's kind of got like he's got a sort of Donald Trump effect. He's just so outrageous.
So think Donald Trump with fucking sick dance moves.
Pop locking,
Just fucking
Donald
busts
Trump.
it on the stage.
Bow.
I'm down, yo.
He ain't got that
Amazing.
hip problem.
Yeah.
He's killing it.
Yeah, no bone spurs here.
No snap, crackling, and popping.
So, in 2009, Uganda made attempts to pass their anti-homosexuality bill. The bill forbids the promotion of homosexuality, which is a vague term that ends up encompassing LGBTQ activism or funding and is punishable by up to 7 years in prison. So Uganda blows up on the world scene for this one because everybody's already like, this is fucked up. But this is exactly that
What year is
promotion.
this?
Huh?
What year
This
is
is
this?
2009.
Ooh,
So this is by
pretty
2009.
late. That's pretty late.
Yeah. but it's exactly that. So 2009, they have this. And it's like, yeah, promotion of homosexuality. And it's a vague term. It's vague enough that you can say, like, literally, me telling you I'm gay, you know,
You promote the gay.
I am promoting the gay.
Oh no.
Do you know? Literally, like
the
anything,
lawyer-
just
the lawyer
talking about, you know, LGBT people in general becomes promotion of gays.
The
And-
fact that they exist is
Yes.
promotion.
Like, I don't know, you probably couldn't even recommend Call Me By Your Name or Brokeback Mountain.
Two amazing.
Def-
If you
Definitely
letterbox
not
Brokeback
Brokeback
Mountain
Definitely
in
not
Uganda,
Brokeback
you're
Mountain.
going to be arrested. Since a third of Uganda's revenue comes from foreign aid, this bill prompted a lot of the country's backers to threaten to take that aid away. This travels all the way up to Washington, where at the time, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and President Obama basically called it out too.
Why take the aid when you can take the AIDS?
Whoa, deep thoughts.
He's got the slogan.
Wow,
Make him a
nice.
politician.
I'm
He's
just
a
Damn.
trying to
politician. We solved politics today.
Every
Guys,
day.
we did it.
I'm a hero.
Good
guys.
shit.
Even off the mic, we solve politics.
Off the mic too. All of this came to add pressure to Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, who also really fucking hates gays. He was cornered. On one hand, there's foreign nations holding back essential funds, and on the other hand, his legion of homophobic preachers were threatening violence. And they literally were. They were like, we're gonna go out in the street and attack some gays.
Homophobic thugs.
Homophobic thugs. So in 2009, as part of a docuseries called Vanguard, correspondent Mariana Van Zeller investigates the anti-gay movement. Correspondent Mariana Van Zeller investigates the anti-gay movement. During the episode, Sempa is recorded giving a presentation on the sexual practices of homosexuals with the hopes of garnering support for his bill. I am, of course, talking about the famous Poo Poo video.
It is the Poo Poo.
I'm here in the capacity as the chairman of the National Task Force Against Homosexuality in Uganda.
At the press conference, Pastor Sempa was flanked by religious leaders, both Christian and Muslim, a show of unity seldom seen in Uganda.
We are making legislation to make sure that sodomy and homosexuality never sees the light
Sodomy.
of legality in this land.
Barack
of the
Obama back
Pearl of
off, says in the
Africa.
back.
Yeah.
In a room packed
That's
with
why I explained
local
the
and international
Obama
media,
calling it out.
the
Yeah,
pastor
it's
began a
jokes.
presentation that grew increasingly inflammatory and graphic.
I've taken time to do a little research to know what homosexuals do in the
Oh, here it
privacy of their
comes.
I
bedroom.
love the research.
One of the things they do is called anal leaking, where a man's anus is leaked like this by the other person.
This
ice cream.
one
And then
lady's
what-
Like
smiling
ice
like,
cream.
I
Even
wish.
poo-poo comes out. The other poo-poo's out, and then they eat the poo-poo. The
I think he was
other one
watching
they
the
do
wrong video.
Is they have a sex practice called fisting, where they
Oh,
insert their
shit.
hand into the other
No one
man's
does
hand,
this.
and it goes into the anus all the way.
All the way to the
And it
elbow.
is so painful. They have to take drugs, but they enjoy it. Now, if we have any children, please step out. This is
You
a
said all
parental
this
guidance
first.
moment. Hey, that child can be moved out.
That child saw
So
too much.
I've done research.
That child can be
He's gonna-
moved
he's
out.
gonna
He
show
already knows
porn.
about fisting now.
So just by the way, the laptop he pulls out and shows here, they're blurred in the documentary, but they're straight up like S&M porn.
God damn.
Like he's showing some straight up
The
like
worst of
underground
the
shit.
worst.
The worst of the worst. Yeah.
Like some shit you have to go to like page 200 for.
You can continue my life.
You don't find this on Pornhub.
No. He did a deep dive on this.
Shit, let's go to-
Now you start questioning.
He went to a weird like German sex dungeon, took pictures himself.
Sorry, we're just gonna take off.
He did some hands-on journalism.
So I've done research. This is what they do. Number one, you can see a man here
It's in black and white.
having sucked the other person's rectum, and the other person is poo-pooing, and this one is eating the poo-poo all over the place. Huh? Tell
Like,
me,
everybody's enjoying
when
it.
you have a law against homosexuality, do you say except eating poo-poo? Hey, I mean, look at this guy sincerely.
He shows it to every.
Ah, staggerfulizer. Huh? Hajat, we do not want this sickness. This is sick and it's therefore deviant. We do not want it.
Can I just say, if you like shitting on your partner's face and they enjoy it, you can do it. Just keep it in your bedroom. It's fine. We love you.
This is
and keep it out of the eyes.
sick. It is sick. It is deviant. We do not want
The way
it.
he said, "This is sick." I was like, yo,
What I
bro.
love is everyone in the room is like smiling, like, what the fuck is going on?
They're like, oh my god, I canceled the wrong speech.
Why are you showing us this?
So, but what we just saw was Martin Semper's demonstration, and this is like he's got a lot of Muslim religious leaders there, and a lot of Catholic Christian religious leaders in that room as a sign of unity.
Just showing that video is
Because they're
haram as
they're
fuck.
beside him. They're not watching his presentation. The people he's presenting this to are mostly journalists and stuff like that. But basically, and then he goes on to basically, you know, what you just heard. He talks about fisting
And the
and
poo-poo.
anal leaking, which is not exactly indicative of what actual, you know, gay sex is like.
it's
But
pretty.
whatever.
It's the extremes of gay sex, and
It's
actually
two girl, one
regular
couple
sex.
sex.
straight
Right, yeah,
sex.
because yeah, anybody heterosexual can also do that stuff. You know, it's not limited.
But look, listen, if it's a woman shitting on you, guys, by all means.
I wonder what Martin. I wonder what Martin Semper would do with like 2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh my god.
He's gonna
This-
make another speech.
This is sick.
Well, technically it's lesbians, so
This is the same thing. See, he's anti-lesbian too. He doesn't discriminate.
that's what I mean. So he watched
least
2 girls,
that.
one
Well, he
cup.
only
He's got
discriminates gays,
another
but he doesn't
speech
discriminate between gays.
between gays.
All the gays are the same to him.
All the gays are the same to me. All right, I'm going to hell.
And if you're 75 or older,
Oh yeah, that's true.
and apparently if you're handicapped too, which is what.
In the video, Sempa shows the audience straight up S&M porn as examples of homosexual practices. The video then ping-pongs from Reddit to other video websites and eventually making it to bloggers like Perez Hilton and YouTubers like Ray William Johnson. And let's not forget all the wonderful DJs who have remixed it and made bangers off of Sempa's words. There was like a ton of DJ remixes.
We got a little snippet here.
No, I don't, but you
I was
will
like,
next
damn, I
time.
wanna
You'll
jail.
have it next time.
I want to jail.
And while yes, everybody likes a good laugh, and this video seems absurd enough to be a comedy sketch, it is not. Later on, Van Zeller attends a rally in support of the 2009 bill, where Martin Sempa can be seen far deeper into his element. Fuck you.
Somebody
It is
really.
surely inhuman to subject the people of Uganda
This is another pastor, by the way.
to a choice between aid
Rival
or
pastor.
anal sex.
They just paid one guy to just hold a sign that he made like the day before.
So you see the guys holding a drawing of Obama with like this thing that says like no pact with the devil. It's Obama with like devil horns.
Yeah.
It's just really silly, but anyway.
But they literally paid a guy to just sit on stage with that sign.
Yeah, they
That's his whole
It is
job.
surely inhuman to subject the people of Uganda to a choice between aid or
The
anal
budget
sex.
on the stage is also going up.
Before we pray,
there's Martin.
I want you to know what do homosexuals do. Then you can weep when you see someone promoting something that is evil. The major argument homosexuals have is what people do in the privacy of their bedroom is nobody's business. But do you know what they are doing in the bedroom?
He showed the gay porn.
Now, they start off by touching each other's genitals and
Oh
smelling
my
each
god,
other.
now he's got the projector.
This one smears the poo-poo all over the other person's face. As if that is not enough, he puts the hand deeper. As Africans, we want to ask Barack Obama to explain to us, is this what he wants to bring to Africa as a human right to eat the poo-poo of our children?
He took the same...
This guy's obsessed with I think he eats poo-poo, to be honest.
Bro, but
'cause,
he
like,
took the same speech, but he actually found the video he was talking about.
Yeah.
He was like,
This is
I
the
know I
poo-poo.
saw it. I'm going to bring it back next time.
And where does he find these things?
He just pulled that clipboard out of nowhere. He's like, watch this.
Because I mean, to find this, you don't just write like regular porn on Pornhub or something.
And you can't just write anal leaking, you know?
Anal leaking. Well, you can.
Probably.
It's funny because
But-
the way he says it ends up sounding like anal leaking.
Yeah.
The thumbnail is priceless.
Colonoscopy instead by accident.
Colonoscopy.
They shove the tools into the anus. Then a camera goes into the anus.
I say we accept cancer.
Accept cancer, reject anal cameras. He often talks about all of this as if homosexuality is an invasive concept brought into Africa by foreigners. In that same episode, he depicts the US, Sweden, and other big, particularly white nations as colonizers imposing an agenda in Uganda. And you'll find a lot of people who shout neocolonialism whenever this topic comes up. So like I decided to listen to like other podcasts and what they were saying about this. Podcasts that were either covering Martin Sempa or podcasts that were just like covering the Ugandan legislation for making stuff like this. And I found some fucking weird ones, some that were like interesting and like just a bit of a mix. Like I found one in the host was a black man. I need to make this it's important for what I'm going to say, but American, by the way. But he goes on and like he starts. This is based on the 2023 legislation, by the way. But he starts going off of like, well, it's their country and they can do whatever they want. Like why do like it? He calls it neocolonialism, where like these white nations and the U.S. and other like international like other nations want to impose like their sort of control and tell this country how to run itself, and it shouldn't do that. And it's like, you know, like them dangling funding in their way is this new way of controlling this nation.
But can I just say, having lived like in Australia and in the west coast of Canada and stuff, there is a lot of different people that migrate to like so in Australia there's a lot of Brazilians, gay Brazilians that can easily get visas to go there. And they basically escape Brazil by getting visas and living in countries that do accept their way of life. Same in the West Coast, a lot of Asian people, gays that will leave Asia and get to the West Coast of Canada to be able to be gay and like live their regular lives. So in a way, like the US and Canada and these other countries do get a lot of people trying to migrate and, you know, find a better life for their own situations in different countries. And I guess in a way, like the U.S. could be trying to stop that, like,
and like there was suggestions like that same podcaster then later said like, you know, he used another nation as an example. I think it was Nigeria, but it was like when Nigeria was trying to tell them that they didn't like a certain law that they were applying, the Nigerians started making sanctions and started banning British people from going to Nigeria, basically. Like they started banning those passports and all that. So quickly, you know, England or whatever, the UK fucking brought back the funding that they were like withholding, basically. Right. And he was just suggesting the same thing, that like Uganda should do the same thing. But it was like, it's that sentiment that comes up a lot. There was another podcast that I heard that was a lot more disgusting about it, that they were just like straight up like, well, I guess that the US is now just supporting pedophiles now with laws like this, and just like completely just like blinders over everything else.
Jump from gays to pedophiles.
Well, because the law also covers pedophilia in a sort of
gay?
way. Well, it calls because it categorizes pedophilia as like homosexuality. Which is weird because I'm like, then what do you do when it's a hetero like pedophilia case? Like, when it's like a man, like, you know, fucking.
But those might be legal. I've never read the law in Uganda, but
then if all
there
if all
isn't. There
pedophilia
just
is
isn't.
clarified-
There is laws like against that as well. It's just the point of like calling it aggravated homosexuality. It's just to put that in people's heads, you know, that term, mix those terms together.
because then you make homosexual like the devil's work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. There you fully jump to that idea where it's like pedophilia is just a form of severe homosexuality. That's what you're putting it on.
Yeah.
Which is therein lies the problem. And you're going to find a lot of people who shout neo-colonialism whenever this topic comes up. And the usual discourse goes by saying Africa is its own continent, Uganda is its own country. It should not have to appease neo-colonialists or other nations, you know, for fear of, you know, being sanctioned. But the fact of the matter is, homosexuality isn't a colonialist import. There's actually a history of LGBTQ presence in Uganda that even predates the colonial era. We're going to talk about that and more on Martin Sempa and some of the other guys pulling the strings behind this movement in part 2.
Ooh. Get hyped. Get hyped.
Let's go.
I think this is a good one to cover. I think it's going to be a good one, episode 2.
Yeah.
excited.
It's going to get wild.
For the record, I just read something that said there is a law against hooking up with girls under 18 in Uganda. So yes, they do have a law.
Yeah, they do have a law, and they
Yeah.
do have a punishment. There's a pastor who has some stuff to say about that. We're going to cover him in part 2 as well. But yeah.
So if you had to give them like a little teaser of what would be episode 2, what would you say? It's the more political side. It's when it gets really deep dive. What would you say?
We are going to rabbit hole in part 2.
Rabbit hole.
I'm telling you right now, we are going from like fucking
Conspiracies?
pre-colonial, a little bit of conspiracy in part 2. We are talking about pre-colonial era history in Africa. I'm talking cave paintings here.
We're going far.
Yeah, I'm going
Some
far,
gay-ass
fucking
cave
2,000 years ago. I am talking
Anal
about
leaking on the paintings of the
Oh,
caves.
yeah.
I am talking about some colonial era wars as well.
Interesting.
So that's going to be fun.
Are we
I'm
gonna-
talking about some American dickheads.
Are
who
we going to
have-
see some maps?
No, I decided not to include any maps.
Boo.
But to give you guys, to leave you guys off on a nice and happy note, I'm going to show you guys a video of Martin Sempa breakdancing. But please note, this is Martin Sempa today. He's old, so you know. Please note that this is not him in his breakdancing champion pride. By the way, as with all the videos, clips, and references that I've mentioned today, images, videos, whatever, you will find them in a link in the description of this podcast. So go check that out if you want to see the videos, because or else you can have the audio, but you can't see him breakdancing. You should see it for yourself though. You guys get to discuss it while I play us out. So yeah,
When you're hip, don't die.
there you
baby.
go. He's
Sitting
popping
down,
and
too.
locking. Isn't he beautiful?
Ooh,
Gorgeous.
It's like a deleted scene from The Irishman.
bro, he was getting laid with those moves.
He was getting laid with
What
those
the-
moves, baby.
Oh,
Look at he's
shit.
doing the
Oh.
mime. I love
No
it.
shot.
That is amazing.
And he's on his Stevie Wonder too.
Oh yeah, he's on his Stevie Wonder game. It is super bright in there.
Oh,
But yeah, there you have it. So,
popping and locking.
thank you everybody for listening. Have
Thank
a
you, thank
lovely
you.
day. Follow me on Instagram. My name is Director Jon Ramirez. I am also on YouTube. I make movies. My channel is Deadtime Media. I also make reviews. It is called Jon Hates. Anybody else?
I'm John. Don't really got a plug, but thank you for listening. We love you.
I'm El Nini. Thanks for watching.
El Nene.
All right, we will see you next time when I ask these boys, why are they gay?
This is sick and it's therefore deviant. We do not want it.